Mr. Happy Living here, and I'm happy to be broadcasting from WYTV7 in the beautiful Queen City, Charlotte, North Carolina, USA. Hey, friends, will you join me right now, just for a minute, and imagine how awesome you'd feel living the unique and distinct life you were put on this planet to live, doing work you love, with people you love, and bees you love, in places you love, and all the while creating something of real value to others. That's what I call a life of significance. And I can tell you it makes for a very happy life. And so can Scott Neeley. He's my guest star today, and he's here to share his unique and distinct journey to his life of significance. Hey, Scott, welcome to the show.
Matt, thank you very much for having me. I appreciate you inviting me onto your terrific program here, and very excited to talk about what I do and how that affects other people. So thank you very much.
Very good. Well, get us started by just telling us what you're doing these days to make your mark of significance on the world.
Yeah, certainly. So my name again is Scott Neeley. I am the owner of Penshore Winery and Vineyards in Northeast PA. I also own a company called Kingview Mead, Wine, and Hard Cider out of Pittsburgh, PA, and I'm the president of the Pennsylvania Wine Association.
Very good. And did I see that you were working another career until just recently in
Yeah,
IT?
well, yeah, it's been a bit of a journey. I was in corporate America up until a couple Aprils ago, and during that time, I was building a company called Kingview Mead, Wine, and Hard Cider. So that started in May of 2016, and really the focus of that company was to create mead, which is honey wine. It's the oldest alcohol in existence, made from honey. And we also do some hard cider made from apples and some traditional grape wine.
Very good. All right, Scott, let's do a little mathematics so our friends all around the World Wide Web can get to know you through our happy formula. I think you're going to like it. It's simple, but it's a powerful equation that goes like this: power plus purpose equals happy. So let's start with power. What are your personal practices for building up all the power you need to get things done, whether it's physically, mentally, spiritually, financially, emotionally? In other words, Scott, what do you do on a regular basis to create all the power you need to take really good care of yourself and your loved ones and still have plenty left over to be a giver to others?
Yeah, I mean, I really think it comes down to passion, right? When you find that thing that you love to do, getting up in the morning it's not a labor anymore, right? You're actually excited. And that's step number one, right? You got to find what your passion is. For me, getting into the wine industry, into the meat industry, especially, we built a company that uses honey, right? Honey, it comes from bees. Bees help support agriculture and the food supply, right? Locally. And if you're supporting that, I often say, raise your hand if you like to eat, right? And everyone raise their hand. And then we do something fun with it, right? So we make a little bit of alcohol out with it. And that creates a forum for engagement with people, right? And I think that's a huge misstep nowadays is so many people are behind their phones or whatnot, in social media, where you're not really actually engaging with people. This forces you to do that. So, you get to feed off the energy of other people. When they come in, they're looking to have a good time, right? You get to help educate them, and you're doing that in a basis using a product that also benefits other people. Even if they don't drink, they're still benefiting from supporting the local food economy. So when you wrap that up, and you look at the agriculture, you do something fun with it, and help to educate people that have all those other side benefits. I mean, it's an easy thing to do and to get up and do.
Yeah, so you tapped into something that I've been discovering. It's the difference between earthly energy and spiritual energy. And earthly energy is finite. You use it and you have to replenish it. Spiritual energy is infinite. The more
Yeah.
you use, the more you have. It's like love. The more you love somebody, the more love you have. So talk about the difference there. I think you tapped into it, but between your earthly things that you do, it sounds to me like you're really dominated by the spiritual love of what you do side.
Yeah, so everyone thinks the wine industry is so glamorous, right? But the reality is you're actually physically using your body all of the time. You know, you're picking up boxes, you're picking up, buckets of honey, you're picking up cases of wine, bottles of wine. You're moving across, vast distances to actually produce the product that you're producing. So on a daily basis, you're getting that physical exercise. I used to work out constantly. I used to play a lot of soccer, and so my body was used to high energy, high intensity all the time. Now it's like that in periods of time, but more drawn out throughout the day. So from a physical perspective, you know, using your hands, right? Using your feet on a daily basis helps on the physical level and keeps you kind of conditioned. Obviously, touching on the passion side, right? And being very passionate about what you're doing keeps that motor really going.
Yeah.
I won't lie, there are definitely times when you need to sit down, you need to lay down and take a break. And you get those cues from your body when you're overextending yourself or whatnot. You just rest, recharge, relax, take a day off, take a couple days off and recharge.
Yeah, very good. Okay, Scott, let's dive into my favorite power generating concept. It's called a Kaizen state of mind. And it's this beautiful Japanese idea that small incremental improvements add up over time to yield great big results. And I love it because it's based on mindset, not circumstance. Kaizening life is knowing there's always something I can do better tomorrow than today. And it creates an optimistic, gentle, but very powerful and continuous uplifting of my life day after day after day. So, Scott, how does Kaizening your life help you increase your power to continuously become more so you can continuously give more?
Yeah, I mean, it's a choice when you wake up in the morning, right? You can choose the attitude you want to have. You may be tired, you may be grumpy. You can still choose to be happy even when you're tired, right? And that's a choice all of us have. And I talk about that, with my employees, with my wife. And it's that choice you start with in the morning that starts your day, right? After that, it's those little things throughout the day where you appreciate other people. That appreciation of other people comes back to you, um, and tenfold. And you just kind of it's just a give and take all day with the people you're interacting with and the progress you make within your own life and with your own career. So it's just those little things on a daily basis that you choose to think that way. And inevitably good things happen and your energy flow just continues to build and build and you grow. Your aspirations, your whatever you're into will continue to grow and into what you want it to be.
Yeah, sometimes I think about Kaizen, like if we apply it to your mead process, mead making, is that how you say it? Mead making?
Yeah, yeah, being a mead maker, right? There's
Mead maker.
there's no real term for it, but
Okay.
it's just like a winemaker, you're a mead maker.
So
Yeah.
how has that process for you improved over time so that you can, I'm sure you're now a lot better at it than you were in 2016.
Yeah.
And you get there, talk to the audience about how you get there just by this little improvement, this little correction, this little change, and all, and you're gaining knowledge and wisdom and experience all along the way. So now you can do more mead making with less than you used to be able to do.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, one of the key sayings I have is always be learning, right? So if you take the premise of always taking every situation as a learning experience instead of maybe ridicule or something, negative,
Mhm.
and you apply that to everything you do, your life is just gonna change a little bit. So we took that in the mead realm, and when I first started, I kind of dove right in. I was making 15 batches at a time versus one or two here and there, copious notes and just learning and really a feel for what the ingredients that we're using do. If I encountered issues, you just do the research, you try something and you find out what the notes are, find out what works and what doesn't. It definitely was a certain process. We're at the point now where we're very confident in our product that we build and create. you know, if we encounter an issue, we know what that issue is, going into it, and we can overcome it. So, over the years, it's just been repetitive, like you said, incremental process, of improvements.
Love it. Okay, let's move on to purpose. That's the second element of our happy formula. And Scott, I've observed that major life transformations, those big discoveries of purpose, often, sadly, come from devastation, addiction,
Yeah.
abuse, death, disease, disaster. Something awful strips a life right to its core, resulting in some big change. However, in my book, Turning Inspiration into Action, I share the transformational process that I've used to discover my purpose using inspiration. So, how about you,
Yeah.
Scott? Was there a specific moment or event or crisis or inspiration that revealed to you the purpose you were meant to live?
Yeah, I mean, even when I was younger, I always thought that my purpose was to be closer to the earth, really, and do something more of an agricultural status. Now, I went into corporate America, followed that trajectory, but always knew in the background there was something else that would tie into it. The real inspiration, came from just having a great time with other people. We would visit wineries, we would have a great time, and you know, you walk into a place and it's all about just enjoying not just the wine, but conversation and that interaction, like I said before, with individuals. So for me, really it just came down to um, having an aha moment while I'm at one of the wineries, saying, you know what, that's what I want to do, right? I want to do that.
Can you take us to that moment? Do you remember that specific time? And
Yeah,
then
I
and
mean,
then
it
and then
was
what changed after it? How did your life change to say, no, I can't do this tomorrow, but I'm gonna get this done, and how did you start? So teach us what you did.
yeah. Yeah, so I know I couldn't tell you exactly which winery I was in because there's a lot up in Lake Ontario, up in Niagara on the Lake. That's where I was, um, and it was in the 2011 timeframe, um, where I was visiting a lot of the wineries up there, having a great time with people, and I just remember looking at the individual behind the bar, a gentleman behind the bar who was serving. And I wasn't right at the bar. I was away from it. I just kind of looked and just saw the smile on his face, saw the smile on everyone else's face. And I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do. And it was that car ride back, going from, Niagara Falls back to Pittsburgh, that the wheels really started turning, right? Okay, this is what I want to do. This is what's the game plan, right? And you got to develop that game plan. So I spent much of that car ride thinking, okay, what do I want to make wine right off the bat? Well, no, because I'm not really Italian, and that's where I kind of made that assumption. But a lot of Germans and wine's everywhere. So I was a little naive back then. But it was the mead concept that really struck home on my drive home,
Sure.
saying, okay, if I can support the bee population, if I can support food population, because I like to grow things in the garden as well. If I can support that and do it in a fun way and use that to educate people to create their own food, right, which takes one of those basic necessities away, that you don't have to rely on anyone else for. You can do it yourself and help that cause at that fundamental level. That's really, where it all began. That was the impetus for it.
Awesome. What was your strong connection to the bees at that time?
Yeah, well, again, I like the outdoors. Um, I've had a garden, and you see a difference, just in the production of what you get. If you have a good hive around, it's tenfold compared to not really having many bees around. There's also, a lot of talk back in those times of the bee population, right? There is a concern of that. Now, a lot of beekeepers have stepped up, and we're kind of in balance, but you still read articles where, different states, they'll lose half their population of bees in that given year. That's a huge issue, right? That's something we have to stay on top of because that supports a lot of the food that we eat. So it was that type of realization that really came about.
Awesome. Congratulations on turning that inspiration into action. I just love that. Scott, hey, let's take a quick commercial break for our sponsor to spread a little love with our audience. If you have more ideas than actions, if you have more promises than change, if you're ready for the life you are meant to live, then TI2A is the book for you. And we're back, and this is the Something Significant show, and I'm your host, Matt Gersper. And my special guest star today is Scott Neeley. He's the owner and operator at King Mead, where he handcrafts mead wine, and hard cider with the cause of promoting educational opportunities and assistance to apiaries and beekeepers. And he recently bought Penn Shore Winery, making him and his wife, Hannah, the fourth set of owners of this renowned Pennsylvania winery. And he's also the president of the Pennsylvania Winery Association, where he advocates for the Pennsylvania wine industry. He's truly a man that lives, breathes, and drinks delicious wine, and he shares his enthusiasm for all of it with others too. Scott, I love that. And I think you're going to love this article that I found on livescience.com. It's called The Science Behind the Power of Giving. And it says the act of giving itself can be a gateway to discovering your reason for being on the planet. It tells how science supports the idea that giving one's time and talents and treasures is a powerful pathway for discovering purpose and overcoming difficulties and finding fulfillment and meaning in life. So I updated our formula. Power plus purpose plus giving equals really happy. What do you think, Scott? Has giving your time and your talents and your treasures been a pathway for discovering your purpose and for getting past difficulties that you've faced and for bringing real meaning into your life?
Sure. I mean, again, that giving component is huge, right? It's not just all about, generating something as a business. The wine industry, the meat industry, it's really about, being with others and spending time with others, right? And just that act of actually being with others, listening, having a conversation with others is huge. I mean, that's what makes us human. In a lot of ways, it's a beautiful thing to do and be a part of. You go to Europe and they have, family long dinners for 8 hours, where they're all just sitting at a table and having a great time. We don't really do that here in the U.S., and I think we should. I think we should. That time of us producing this product, which we then sell, that promotes that, right? We're not here wanting people to do shots or anything like that. Our products are meant to be just enjoyed over a long period of time with your significant others and friends and families. So
that's great. And science tells us that giving to others helps bring real meaning to our lives. But we've known throughout the ages, in fact, there's an old Chinese proverb that says, if you want happiness for an hour, take a nap. If you want happiness for a day, go fishing. If you want happiness for a year, inherit a fortune. And if you want happiness for a lifetime, help somebody. And that feeling I get that comes from our fourth element of significance, doing work that creates value for others, confirms it. But there's something more to it than that, Scott. And I've been feeling this deep in my spirit. It's not just giving. It's when you're giving from living in your purpose. That's where you find the real magic. So, Scott, can you tell us about the difference you've noticed and how you feel about giving to others from living in your purpose as a winemaker by sharing your enthusiasm for mead and bees and wine and nature and all the entertainment and events and educational opportunities and friendships that have come along as you've built more and more of your life around living in your purpose?
yeah, certainly. I mean, again, it's when you wake up in the morning, it's not a labor, right? You want to be there. You want to be doing what you're doing. I don't wake up and say I have to go to work, right? It's what do we get to do today? It's a big difference in your life by having that mentality and providing that interaction again with everybody versus helping somebody out because they I don't know. I don't even know a good analogy for it because I do all, it's all about just helping other people do things, right? And helping other people through different struggles and whatnot. And for us, this is an everyday thing. Every bottle of wine or mead that goes out, we know is going to turn into some type of good experience for those individuals. They're going to enjoy it. They're going to relax. They're going to have just a more fulfilling conversation. Just something beneficial for themselves, right? We aren't in the business of just doing for doing's sake, right? We again want those individuals and anyone consuming our products to have a good time and smile, right? I want to recreate the smiles that
Yeah.
I saw, whenever I was out doing my own wine tasting.
Yep. Yep. And you remember when I visited you, it's been a while now, several months. And I went from my RV into your place and I was kind of looking around. I went into the bathroom. I noticed this poster and had different kinds of wines on it. And I'm a red wine drinker. So, but it
Yeah.
house had port. And so, I love port. I wonder if they have any port. And so I go out there and there's no menu. And I said, "Do you guys have any port?" And you weren't helping me. I think but you heard what was going on. And tell the audience what happened after you heard that I
Yeah.
inquired about port. Do you remember?
Yeah, I do. I do. You had excellent timing, Matt. You had excellent timing because we literally just created our first ever port here at Penn Shore.
How big
And
was the vat?
oh man, I think that one was about a 300-gallon batch
Okay.
for that. And what I did is I said, you know what? We're gonna have you come back and I'm gonna have you pour the first bottle out of the what we just created and cork it yourself. As something unique. And that's, that's the fun part of this, right? You get to cue it in and say, hey, let's create an experience for this individual. In this case, it was you. So we're glad to do that.
Yeah, and sadly the port's all gone. I'm gonna have to buy some more. But that that engagement, it brought you joy. It brought me joy. I'll remember it for the rest of my life. I don't know if you will, but I'll be telling that story. I'll remember it forever because it was different. It was genuine. There was this connection, and that's what this
Yeah.
show is all about. It's finding that magic in each of our lives, and it's available for each of us. That's what I believe, and it comes from this great big happy circle. It's giving your time and talents and treasures is a powerful pathway for discovering your purpose, and giving from living in your purpose brings profound joy to your life as you've been smiling all the way through this
Yeah.
interview, and to the lives of those around you too. So it seems that giving leads to purpose and giving from purpose leads to joy. So to truly capture the exponential power of our happy formula, Scott, I've got to tweak it just one more time. Power times purpose times giving equals happy to the third power. And that's really, truly, deeply happy. Does that sound about right to you?
I couldn't agree more. It's yeah, for sure. When you can smile and sure, we have stressful days. There's stressful situations, but really when you're doing it for a purpose, it's it just comes with the territory and you get over it and you move on and it's just another challenge, right? And so
Struggle is better. It's still struggle, but it has
yeah,
significance, has meaning, and the good times are better. Everything's better, but there's still ups and downs.
yeah, for sure. I mean, overall, I couldn't be happier right now, especially, I got married on June 3rd of this year, which was great. And my wife is, she works just as hard as I do. And when you find, somebody like that in your life, it's great. And I just, I couldn't be happier. She's also pregnant now. So I don't, she wasn't,
Congratulations.
yeah, thank you. So we've got a lot going on, and I couldn't be happier, really.
Good stuff. All right, let's wrap things up with the lightning round. I love the power of words and the
Yeah.
capacity for great quotes to change lives. So I'm going to read a few of my favorites and have you tell us what they mean to you. And Scott, give us the first thing that comes to your mind because we call this a lightning round. Here
Sure.
we go. Here we go. From Salvador Dali, the connoisseur does not drink wine, but tastes its secrets.
Yeah. So everything that grows has a structure to it, has a personality to it, and with wine, that's 1,000% true. With mead, 1,000% true. Whether the honey's coming from wildflowers or wherever, it tells stories. Our drinks tell stories.
That's awesome. I was surprised to find that from Salvador Dali. Interestingly, my wife and I just invested several years ago in the entire 100-piece collection of his Divine Comedy, which we have in display in a museum down in Texas with a friend of mine named Harry Bain. So I was excited to see Salvador Dali talking about wine. This is from an unknown winemaker. I actually have it right here. on a cork. And it says, creativity is allowing yourself to make mistakes. Art is knowing which ones to keep.
Yeah, for sure. There are happy accidents in the wine world where you have an intent to create a certain style. It doesn't quite come out that way. And, it still tastes fantastic and the customers love it. It is such a fun creative outlet for me. And, I, it is exactly what I needed, really.
I think I don't think I know I've drank some red wine called Happy Accident. Uh, this is from Scott Hawken. He says, go deep in a specialty, get a customer, make them happy.
Yeah, I mean, that's really, I mean, this is why we're talking right now, right? This is exactly why we're talking right now is that interaction we had, which was a special interaction. No one else can have that interaction, right? That's our first batch. You got the first bottle, and if you enjoyed it, then what we were doing worked. That's what it was all about. So
I
couldn't
would have
agree more.
enjoyed it. I would have enjoyed it even if I didn't like the port, but I loved the port. So it was just everything is perfect. This one's from Leonardo da Vinci. He says, one can have no smaller or greater mastery than mastery of oneself.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's very important, right? It comes back to what I said. You make a choice when you wake up in the morning, right? You have all kinds of outside influences all around us, but it's your choice on how you react to those and how you approach those. Again, with my kind of innate always be learning, eh, things become easier when everything becomes a learning experience.
Good. This was from Mark Nepo. He says, the flower doesn't dream of the bee, it blossoms and the bee comes.
Yeah, I mean that's a very unique quote because it is one of those situations where if you do the right thing, if you just be yourself, positive things will come to you. I mean that's really how it translates. Positive things will come to you when you're being yourself to your fullest, and it's an amazing cycle of life that's out there. If you really study it.
Awesome. Okay, this is from Goth. It's our show anchor. And he said, whatever you can do or dream you can do, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Begin it now.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to get happier just by doing the same thing every day, of your life if you're not in the best state of mind, right? You have to take that step forward. And again, if it doesn't work out, that's fine. Just do something else. Just keep evolving as a person and as a being. And eventually you'll find what you're looking for.
You think there's any relationship to bees and our description as human beings?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, you're talking about, things have been around hundreds of millions of years, right? They've helped to create the planet we're on at this point. They're magic. Honey is a magical ingredient. It was used for healing. It was used for all types of purposes, and it's been around forever. It truly is, from my perspective, the most magical ingredient on the planet, and they do all the heavy lifting. Literally heavy lifting for their bodies. Creating it for us, and the benefits of doing that benefit everybody. Not just humans, obviously. The plants themselves, the animals that eat those other plants. They are propagators of humanity and of our planet.
Go bees. Okay, folks, now it's your chance to be a giver too. If you can hear my voice and you were inspired by today's show with Scott Neeley, won't you please share a little love with our amazing broadcast team by giving what you can to WITV7? They're a 501c3 charity on a mission to educate, empower, and encourage. They do good works with your kindness. Scott, I love that you founded Kingview Mead to reconnect with the civilization-long mead making tradition and with nature and with each other too. And I admire that your business model came straight from nature by replicating the relationship that bees have with plants, in that they help each other and that they help one another to grow. And I'm super happy that you've shared your passionate and encouraging and entrepreneurial spirit on our show today. Will you please take a minute or two and share any parting remarks you'd like to leave with our audience?
Yeah, thank you, Matt. I appreciate, first of all, I definitely appreciate you having me on the show. It feels good to talk about. And, when you're in it, you don't always talk about it like this, right? But when you do, it just kind of creates that reaffirmation that what you're doing is the right thing. So first of all, your program and what you're doing is, I think, more people need to tune into, right? And then it comes back to what we just talked about, action. You know, put together a plan, realize that plan may take maybe several years, multiple years to fill out, but use that as your goal, as your inspiration to say, okay, I want to be here in 4 years. I want to be here in 6 years, and use that inspiration to build a plan and start doing things. You'll find in your life, you're going to feel much better, right? Because you have your own goal towards the purpose that you want to be on the planet, and you'll just start to become a happier and happier person.
Yeah, so that's great. And just take us back to when you were coming home from Niagara Falls and you had just made the decision and you got all excited about it. It didn't exist yet, but you already felt better because you had made the decision to start the process, correct?
Yeah. I mean,
And
I could not tell you how excited I was. And more so also relieved, relieved from, outside pressures like,
yeah,
okay, I found it, right? It's like finding a treasure, you find a treasure that just resonates with you. And it's like,
that's
yes, this is what I should be doing. You have just a relief and an excitement that you can't control, really. It becomes a passion. It becomes what you think about all the time and what you do.
so when you feel that nudge, folks, pay attention to it. It's really important.
Yeah.
Thank you, Scott. I also want to thank WITV7 for hosting and promoting our show so we can keep interviewing inspiring guest stars like Scott and reaching folks just like you, ready to create your own extraordinary lives. And most especially, thank you, viewers and listeners. You'll find links to social media and all things Scott Neeley. Find him, friend him. You can go to kingviewmead.com. That's KINGVIEWMEAD.com. And tell me the other one. I've got
Penshore, PENNSHORE.com.
thank you. I didn't update my notes on that one. I was going to send them back to Boxer Rescue Ranch, which they can go there too. That was last week's, but tell them your address again. Give them the two different addresses.
Yeah, www.kingviewmead.com and Penshore, PENN, Shore, SHORE.com.
Go check them out, folks. They got some good stuff. You're going to learn a lot, and you can even buy some meat, I think, and some other products. And from me to you, dear friends, I love you, and I want you to be really, truly, deeply happy too. So go to happyliving.com right now and take our happy quiz, because measuring your happy helps you focus your attention on it, and focusing attention on it attracts change and learning and improvement all to flow right into your life. And once you take the quiz, and it only takes a minute, then please give some thought to what we can do together, you and me, to improve the happy of your world, one person at a time. Till next time, I'm Matt Gersper. You are awesome, and this is the Something Significant Show. And we're out.